everybody and welcome to my house. Today we're blowing this huge mountain of insulation into my house. Okay, to bring you up to speed, what we did so far. This is the timber frame with the clay bricks. And then this is the I-joist system. This is essentially the house that we build around the house. And on top of that, we have the hardwood fiber boards. So where the screws are is where the joists are. And in between that, we have a hollow space. And this is where we're gonna fill in the fiber insulation. And there are some really cool advantages to this technique, and I can talk about it inside. Okay, there are two major advantages to using the blow-in insulation versus the flex stuff that we have worked with before. Number one, even though we have this giant mountain in the backyard, if we used this material, it would be 3 times as big because the blow-in insulation can be compressed much more. And the second advantage is it doesn't come in sheets that are defined in thickness. It's just a loose material that will just adapt to the gap that you have. So it is more flexible. Ooh. There is one thing though that comes with the blow-in insulation. You need this giant machine that's parked outside. And today we will learn how to use that machine and how to blow in the insulation to the house that we built around my house to make it the most insulated house in the neighborhood. I'm not bragging, but...
It's true.
But before we can get to it, the people from Steiko are here to teach us everything we need to know about the machine, about the installation itself. So theory first, and then we're getting to do the fun part. I hope. I mean, I think it will be fun, right? I imagine this to be like...
Ghostbusters style.
Yeah, Ghostbusters. Okay, even though theory is not my favorite thing in the world, I really love the workshop that Basti from Steiko was giving us, showing us the machine, showing us the materials, explaining how it all works, what to pay attention to, how the machine is built. We got a pretty thorough introduction to how this whole system works and how we can operate the machine. The biggest theme for the house Lieselotte is to try to do everything as ecological as possible. And the insulation, I talked about it in length, is super ecological. What I didn't know, that the fibers we're blowing into the walls, they are so thorough. They even make sure that the source material, the wood, is sourced around a radius of 100 to maximum of 200 kilometers around where they process the fibers. So even those transport ways, they have in mind and make sure that they are not wasteful, or at least try to be as minimum, have as minimum waste as possible. It's just pretty wild. The only downside to this technique is that you cannot see what's actually going on, and you have to develop a feeling so that you are sure that you reached every spot with the insulation. And that's why Basti had this box with a plexiglass front, so we could learn how to move the hose in order to blow the insulation everywhere. And also when to blow in material, when to only blow in air to make some room to then add more material. It's a whole technique, but we learned it pretty quick. And it's one of those things where you learn how to listen to the sound once it's knocking a little bit, once the material, I don't know, gets more dense, you get a feel for it, you pull out the hose a little bit more and then blow in the next space. It's cool.
It's
I like
cool.
It. It's cool. I like it, yes. Ja, geil.
Wie fühlt sich's an?
Wattig weich und ich will mich da drin schlafen. So wie so ein Hamsterbau oder so. Das ist geil. Oh, Scheiße.
Was los?
Oh Gott.
Was ist denn?
I just found these. And that I was like,
Oh.
what's this? And then I remembered we might need electricity outside of the house, no?
Oh.
It would have been ideal to do it before we put these on. You know, when we could have just put it in between the joists.
Sure.
Of course, it's not too late to drill a hole, but then we will puncture the membrane. Let's get the drills for these, a long drill, and take advantage of the fact that they're still empty. Maybe if we can use their big cutter, because they have the plugs for this, we can cut a big hole, put the cable in, tape it to the membrane so this is still tight, put the cable through, put these in and glue it all back into place.
Oh gosh, a lot of work.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Also, how do we do this so they don't notice? Because it's embarrassing. Wir müssen noch mal kurz weg. Hä? Wo ist die Kaffeemaschine? Ja, dann gehen wir woanders hin.
Anderer Baumarkt. Gut, dass es nicht deswegen abgesperrt ist.
Game Changer.
Gefährlich. Entschuldigung. Oh, shit. So. Wenn der weg ist.
Ja, hier ist auf jeden Fall leer. Okay. All right, cool. We found a relatively easy way to add the electricity, the outside electricity. It's exactly things like those oversights that keep me up at night, because this was caught in time, but if the house would be finished from the outside, it's always possible, but since we're redoing everything, I want to make it perfect, you know? I don't want to have any visible lines. So
outside the windows, because
outside the windows, yeah. So Vera and I will work on adding the electricity. The guys are working on the on the installation. I'm a little bit jealous. I want to do that.
Yeah, hurry up and then let's go. Den ganzen Tag guckst du auf dein Handy. Wie sieht's aus?
Geil. Almost done. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we're doing this. It will be so much more work. How are you doing?
It's okay. No, everything's good.
I think we should eat some pancakes tonight to boost the morale. This is just repetitive work.
Yeah, right.
It's the worst, but it has to be done. Okay, remember, so everywhere where you can see the screws, this is where the joist beams are, and in between is where the gaps are. So we need to drill a hole so we can reach every gap. And this line, we have marks that we have a board in between. So this is the bottom gap, and then this is the top gap. Those are two different things. And the reason why we have this interruption is that you cannot stack the insulation unlimited. You have to have breaks. Otherwise it will sag too much. But this height and this width, it is absolutely safe that it will not sag. It will stay where we put it. So that's why we have two different levels. I'm becoming an expert in insulation. Okay, let's blow it in. By the way, this looks wild because all the fibers are in the air. You can actually not breathe them in. Yeah, they don't go into your lungs because they're too big to go into your lungs. They just make giant boogers. That's the consequence.
And what's happened now here?
We're blowing in the insulation. And what happened now is that we forgot to plug the hole up there. And that's why all the insulation came out on top.
Kannst du da mal reingucken?
Ja.
Jetzt mal reinfassen, was du jetzt gemacht hast.
Ja.
Jetzt gehst du hoch in die Ecken rein.
Ist dicht.
Ne?
Nur
Wir
hier
haben jetzt
vorne
das vorgelagerte Material nach oben in die Ecken
ja.
reingeschoben.
Super. Wunderschön geworden.
Ich habe eben schon festgestellt, dass genau mein Glatzkopf ausreicht, um so ein Loch abzulichten. Das heißt,
Nee.
ich geh mal durchziehen. Staub festhalten.
Wo festhalten? Wo festhalten?
Saugt nächste Heizung.
Okay, cool.
Schnell gemacht.
Schnell gemacht.
Happy?
Sehr happy, ey. Fühlt sich gut an. Okay, yesterday the experts from Steiko gave us a, I would say maybe 3-hour training. There's also more in-depth courses you can take, but they gave us a 3-hour training and not calculating this. All in all, to do the whole house took us about 6 hours. Wild. 3 people, this machine, 6 hours of time, and the whole house is insulated. It is so wild to me. And while I have you, I want to address 2 comments that I got in the last 2 videos that we did about the installation. Most commonly there are 2 big questions about it. One is, will the installation sag over time? And I talked about this earlier. No, if you do it right, it won't sag. Actually, the fibers are built in a way, they're like super 3-dimensional. They will not sag if you blow it in right. And that's why the experts are here to teach us how to do it right. And then the second thing is, but isn't this a giant fire hazard? And I gotta tell you, I live in Germany, guys. If this was a fire hazard, we could not do it. But they also have a pretty cool test to show us how the material would behave if there was a fire. So let's check this out. Okay, so for the fire test, we basically compared styrofoam to the wood fiber stuff that we are using. They said glass wool would be even worse, but we didn't have a piece of glass wool, so we couldn't test this. But essentially, the outside wooden fiber boards, they're so dense that they do glim. There is a fire there, but there are no flames. So it kind of glims very slowly and it doesn't penetrate very deep, which has the big advantage that if there is a fire, also if it's a neighboring building, so the fire is coming from the outside, the firefighters have time to just get rid of the fire, not erase the fire, how you solve the fire, what's the extinguish the fire. So that's a huge advantage. Yes, it's wood. Yes, technically there is some glimming going on, but it's very, very slow. And you saw as soon as we took the burner off the surface, the flame stopped and it was just a little like red hot. Another thing that I didn't know is you can hold your hand to the other side of the board and you don't feel any heat, which is another way to prove that this insulation is not only for keeping the warm inside, it also protects for the summer heat, which glass wool also doesn't do. And then we compared all of these things to styrofoam, and I was shocked to see how fast it burns through. And also what they told us is the most dangerous thing besides your house burning down is that it creates these hot drips. So if you're in the building and the facade is burning and you go outside the window to jump outside the window or to call for help, you'll be hit by this like plastic, super hot plastic stuff that can be actually deadly because it's so hot. That gave me chills, and that's also not happening with the stuff that we're using. And then we compared it to the insulation that we injected, which is a lot more, it's a lot less dense, a lot more air in there, so it does burn a little better, but also you could see once you took the flame away, it kind of extinguishes itself. And also keep in mind that that stuff is protected by the outside boards and they will not burn through. So I feel safe. I hope you guys feel better too. And even if you have the worst case and there is a fire to your facade, then you can replace the outside boards and your timber is protected. In my case, the half timbered house, the fire will not go through the timbers. I will never have to replace it again, even if there's a fire, because the boards actually, even though they're made of wood, they protect it. Another upside of this machine only needing 3 people to operate it was that the rest of the team was free to finally clean up the house and get rid of trash and leftover materials, because you could not walk in there anymore. So that also feels good to finally get to some cleanup time. I found something. Remember?
Oh, yes.
I think there's something missing. I have a feeling we wrote more on it, but either way.
What can we...
First of all, why do we have a hook for electricity? Because this is not dealt with at all.
It's a half point.
For taking it out?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to do a deal with electricity.
Can you hold it like this?
Yeah, okay, we can go through the list.
Yeah.
The roof is obviously done, although we will put a little bit more insulation in the roof, but that's the next step. But it's done.
Yeah.
Electricity, still, we need to work on it.
On the outside, it's done.
Right. Water installation is planned.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of, I think we'll do it in the winter time. Asbestos is done. Insulation is done, at least the majority. We will do more roof insulation, but that is such a relief. The sill plate, done. Well, not the plate, but we replaced all the oak stuff. Heating system will also be dealt with. It is in planning. We will do it in the winter time. New windows.
Wow.
Yes. Big tree, we talked about it. We will probably deal with it next year.
Yeah.
Mold, no mold,
Okay.
because there are no more walls that were moldy. So
It looks good.
we got a lot done.
Yes.
I mean, okay, we need roof insulation and also indoor insulation still, but I think the majority, the biggest part is done. I ordered a door.
Oh, front door.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. There will be a video about that end of October.
Okay.
They're fabricating it.
Okay.
It's wild. It's wild.
Why?
Because it's not a standard door. I don't know if you ever noticed, but the opening for the door is huge,
Okay.
and it's gonna be a huge, proper built wooden door.
Wow. I saw one of the supermarket glass doors.
Or like the hotel things.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, no, I feel
Nice.
good. So, yeah, I'm happy. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I'm enjoying finally crossing some stuff off my list. And I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.